Brendan Dassey trial transcript day 3, page 169, continued questioning of Susan Brandt. Was this the first time you ever had contact with Kayla? Yes. All right. Your best estimate, approximately how long did this conversation take? My best guess would be 15 or 20 minutes. All right. How was Kayla's demeanor at the conclusion of this discussion? I think she still felt scared, but maybe a little bit more relieved. All right. Did she, at the end of the conversation, seem confused by anything that she was telling you? No. Attorney Fallon, I'll pass the witness, the court. Cross-examination by Attorney Freeman. You said this was the first time you've met Kayla? Yes, that's correct. So you had no perspective as to what her normal demeanor is? No. Don't know if she's normally a scared girl? No. You had no way of telling whether she was telling you the truth, correct? Correct. Attorney Fallon, objection, improper question, commenting on the veracity. The court, you're correct. The objection sustained. Credibility is solely to be judged by this jury. Attorney Fallon, move to strike. The court, motion granted. Question is struck. You don't have any, again, because this is the first time you met her, you don't know her reputation for telling the truth, correct? Correct. Now, you indicated that you had both a bachelor's degree and did you have a master's at this point? No. Were you working on it? This was the internship portion of the master's? Correct. And you've taken a number of classes in child development? Yes. Number of classes or courses of study that deal with children in general? Yes. Is it fair to state in your studies that one, maybe not a common theme with children, is that they sometimes are looking for attention? Is that correct? Sometimes. Okay, and they do things that sometimes it's just intended to draw attention to themselves? Correct. Attorney Freeman, I have nothing else. The court, any redirect, counsel? Redirect examination by Attorney Fallon. Was there any point during this meeting that you thought she was just there to get some attention? No. Attorney Fallon, that's it. The court, all right, the witness may step down. Attorney Kratz, state would call Jodi Stachowski to the stand. The clerk, please raise your right hand. Jodi Stachowski, called as a witness herein, having been first duly sworn, was examined and testified as follows. The clerk, please be seated. Please state your name and spell your last name for the record. The witness, Jodi Stachowski, Stachowski. Direct examination by Attorney Kratz. Ms. Stachowski, you'll have to speak right into the microphone so that we can all hear what you're saying. Ms. Stachowski, during the year 2005 and up to and including Halloween of 2005, were you involved in a relationship with an individual? Yes, I was. Who was that relationship with? Steven Avery. And what, in fact, was your relationship with Mr. Avery during that year? I was his fiancée. Ms. Stachowski, I'm going to direct your attention to October 31 of 2005. Ask if you'd tell the jury, please, where you were physically located that day, if you recall. I was in the Manitowoc County Jail. And can you tell the jurors, please, why it was that you were in jail at that time? For a fifth drunk driving. All right. During your stay at the Manitowoc County Jail, which included Halloween of 2005, did you have occasion to remain in contact with your then fiancé, Steven Avery? Yes, I did. When was it, Ms. Stachowski, that you went into jail? That is, when was it that you had to report to jail, if you can remember? I believe it was in August. All right, and how long of a stay? That is, how long were you scheduled to be in jail from August 05? 7 months. Between August then and October 31 of 05, how regularly would you remain in contact with Mr. Avery? I talked to him once a day. Were there any occasions, Ms. Stachowski, when you would talk to Mr. Avery on more than one occasion during a particular day? Yeah. All right, and how would those conversations occur? In other words, were they in person or were they on the telephone? On the telephone. Could you tell the jurors, please, how those phone calls would be placed? That is, would you place the calls to Mr. Avery or would he call you? I had to call him collect. Let me ask you, Ms. Stachowski, do you remember October 31 of 2005? And specifically, do you remember placing any calls to your fiancé, Steven Avery? Yes. On October 31, 2005, on how many occasions did you talk to Mr. Avery? I called Steven twice that day. And could you tell the jurors about what times those two calls were placed? The first one was about 5:30 and then the second one about 9:30. All right. Are those estimates, Ms. Stachowski? As close as I can remember, yes. How long would those phone calls last? 15 minutes. And how do you know they lasted 15 minutes? In other words, was there something with the jail that, yeah, they just disconnected after 15 minutes? All right, Ms. Stachowski, the last area of inquiry I have for you for this trial is the arrangement or setup of Mr. Avery's trailer. First of all, are you familiar with Mr. Avery's residence, with his trailer? Yes. Did you live in that trailer prior to you having to go to jail in August of '05? Yes, I did. And at the time that you lived there, did you and Mr. Avery share the same bedroom? Yes. Describe, if you will, the kind of furniture that Mr. Avery had or that you and Mr. Avery shared in his bedroom, that is prior to you going to jail. There was the bed, a filing cabinet, a desk, a bookcase, dresser, and a TV. All right, do you remember, Ms. Stachowski, prior to your going into jail, if Mr. Avery had any gun racks or firearms on the wall? There was a gun rack with 2 guns on the wall. Do you know what kind of guns those were? If you don't, that's fine. No, just asking. All right, I'm going to show you what has been received as exhibit number 73. This is a computer-generated diagram. First of all, at least from the standpoint of having a bed, a desk, a bookcase, and a nightstand, or a filing cabinet and a dresser, assuming that's what that is down there, is that the same kind of furniture that Mr. Avery and you had in that bedroom before you went into jail? Yes. Now, before you went into jail, looking at exhibit number 73, was the room set up or configured that way? No, it wasn't. Could you tell the jurors, please, how it was different? First of all, where was the bed when you went into jail? How was it situated? In the corner underneath the 2 windows. When you first walk in the door, you'd walk straight into the bed. All right, and so if I'm taking a laser pointer and pointing, what would be to the top right, towards the bottom left? Is it a fair characterization that the bed was facing this way? Yes. Which side or which wall was the headboard on? The headboard was on the farthest wall, the small window. And I'm pointing to the wall, which would be the east wall of the trailer. Is that the wall that the headboard was on? Yes. The headboard was here and the bed was along that way. Is that correct? That's correct. Okay, now was the bed all the way against this right hand or south wall, or was it away from the wall? It was against the wall. So it was abutted all the way up against, yeah, the wall. This bookcase that we see depicted in exhibit number 73, can you tell us where that was located while you were there? That was located on the wall where the bed is underneath the guns. All right, where was the nightstand? Next to the bed. Like right there, yeah. Would be right next to the door? Yep. So the nightstand would be here and the bed would be this way right next to it. Is that right? Yes. All right. Assuming that this dresser, and I can show you another version if I need to, but assuming the dresser is kind of kitty corner in the southwest corner of the bedroom, would that have been in about the same place? Yes. I'm going to show you one more photo just to kind of orient us. This is exhibit number 75. I think you've told us that the bed was along this wall with the headboard underneath the east window. Is that correct? That's correct. As you looked down this hallway then, this is a hallway, is that right? Yes. As you looked down this hallway and through the open door, would you be able then to see the bed? Yes, you would. All right. Attorney Kratz, that's all the questions today for Ms. Stachowski then, Judge. Thank you. The court. Counsel, cross. Attorney Freeman. I guess I just have one. Excuse me. I just have one question. Cross-examination by Attorney Freeman. Your testimony is essentially that the configuration of the bedroom in August is different than the picture here? Yes. Attorney Freeman. Nothing else. The court. All right. You may step down. Attorney Kratz. This might be a good time for our afternoon break, Judge. The court. All right. We'll take 15 minutes. We'll be back at approximately 10 to 3. Recess had at 2:33, reconvene at 2:54. The court. Your next witness, counsel, Attorney Fallon. State would call Mr. Tom Sturdivandt. Tom Sturdivandt, called as a witness herein, having been first duly sworn, was examined and testified as follows. The clerk. Please be seated. Please state your name and spell your last name for the record. The witness. Special Agent Thomas Allen Sturdivandt. It's Sturdivant. Direct examination by Attorney Fallon. What do you do for a living? I'm a special agent with the Wisconsin Department of Justice, Division of Criminal Investigation, Narcotics Bureau. How long have you been employed for the Wisconsin Department of Justice? Since 1998. Prior to that time, did you hold any other law enforcement positions? I did. I worked for the Maine State Police in the state of Maine. And how long did you work for the Maine State Police? Approximately 11 years. You indicated your current assignment is the Narcotics Bureau for the Division of Criminal Investigation. Prior to that assignment, did you have any other assignment? Yes, I worked in both the Financial Crimes Bureau as well as the Arson Bureau. And how much time did you spend in the Arson Bureau? Approximately 2 years. During what time frame would that have been roughly? That would be roughly between 2003 and 2005. All right, now Mr. Sturdivandt, I'd like to direct your attention to Tuesday afternoon, November 8, 2005. At that particular time, were you currently in the employ of the Department of Justice? I was. All right, on that particular day, were you asked to assist in execution of a search warrant at the Avery Salvage Yard? I was. And where is that salvage yard located generally? Which county? Manitowoc County. All right, what in particular on that day were you asked to do? I was asked to do a couple of things. One was to execute a search warrant at the Avery business, the junkyard business, and secondly, I was asked to go out and take a look at so-called hotspots. These were just areas that were identified by the state troopers as having some areas of interest. Perhaps they might have been action sites, they might have been a motor vehicle, they might have been a variety of other things. All right, and in terms of one of these spots, was there a time where you were asked or your attention was directed to an area behind the garage identified as Steven Avery's garage? Yes, sometime after 1:30, I was asked to go over and take a look at some of those so-called places that of interest, and one happened to be a behind the Steven Avery garage. And Manitowoc officer Jason Jost was standing over what, in my opinion, was a piece of charred bone matter, which was about 6 or 8 feet from the pile of dirt behind the garage. All right, and how was your attention directed to that area? I think at the same point we were asked to go out prior to 1:30, go out and take a look at some of these places of interest. And as I walked over there, myself and Special Agent Deb Strauss were basically summoned by Deputy Jost to come over and take a look at an item that he was standing near. All right, and when your attention was directed to that area, what did you do? Well, the first thing I did is when I walked over and by the deputy, he pointed out this piece of material that was lying on the ground, which appeared to be about 1 inch in length, one inch by 1 inch, which appeared to me again to be a piece of charred bone matter. All right, to begin with, I'd like to the screen to project Exhibit 132 first, and then we're going to have 2 more photographs marked. Your attention is directed either to the screen in front of you or the one to your immediate left. Do you recognize that particular area, Exhibit 132? I do. All right, tell us about that. What is depicted there? What is depicted here is a pile of gravel, which I estimated to be approximately 30 feet by 30 feet, which gradually rises to approximately 2 feet in height, and it's sand and gravel piled up on the natural landscape. And this was directly behind the Steven Avery's, detached 2-car garage. And in the center of this pit, and in the center of this 30-foot by 30-foot pile of gravel here, was what I considered I refer to it as a burn pit, which is about 6 feet wide, and it appeared to me as though somebody had come in with a 6-foot scoop and scooped out 6 feet of this gravel. This pile of gravel wasn't natural to the landscape. It had been placed on top of the grass behind Steven Avery's garage. All right, and the piece of bone fragment that I initially, we'll get to that in just a minute. I think we have 2 more other photographs in front of you that might be illustrative. What are the exhibit numbers on those photographs, please? The first one I looked at was exhibit 041807. I'm sorry, 06CF88, exhibit 168. Exhibit 168? Yes. Thank you. All right, and we're going to have that projected in just a moment. All right, now the exhibit which is depicted on the screen now, is that 168? Yes, it is. All right, now is that a fair and accurate portrayal of this burn area at the time you first set eyes on it? Yes, it is. All right, we note that there is a German or Belgian Shepherd appearing there. Yes. Was that dog present when you first discovered the area? Yes, it was. Tell us about that particular dog, if you would. This was a large German Shepherd type dog that was very aggressive and would actually lunge at people as they walked towards this mound of dirt. The dog house was positioned on top of the dirt, and the dog could reach around the mound of dirt. And again, it was barking, it would lunge at people, and I was also told that the dog might have bit a trooper. Attorney Edelstein. That's hearsay. Ask that it be stricken. Attorney Fallon. It's not a matter The court, it will. Objection sustained. Strike that last remark about the dog biting. Attorney Fallon, all right. Now I note that there is a red box-like or shed item which appears on the left-hand side of the photograph. What is that?